Here at Baybug, we firmly believe in these design principles, that is, cohesion, directness, safety, comfort and attractiveness. That's what makes a good bike network. Well, today we're going to have a look at the new bike paths on Saunders Street and Miller Street as part of a lessons learned report, which should have been done by the project manager, hopefully for the City of Sydney Council, now that they're finished. Now, just to go to the Austroads guide to walking and cycling, there's nothing in here about doing user acceptance testing before signing off the final invoices to make sure the path is fit for use for cyclists, but it does suggest that maintenance supervisors should jump on a bike and test it out. That said, this first bit of path along Saunders Street is very good, and we're talking about comfort levels here. Forget it, don't worry about safety and coherentness and all that stuff. Just comfort, because what we've seen around Sydney lately are a very mixed bag in terms of comfort levels for new paths. But this one's good. It's nice and smooth, doesn't have any bumps or lumps or waveforms in it. It's been done well, and whoever did this should be congratulated. However, the problem is, as we go around the corner here to this second stage of it, the path quality diminishes quite substantially. And what we're trying to raise here with Council is this idea of making sure the specifications for comfort levels are written into the tender documents so that the contractors know they have to produce a high quality, smooth finish. Now, maybe they had problems on this because it's a slope. Maybe they couldn't bring machinery in to do it for some reason. Maybe a different company did it. We don't know the ins and outs of what happened here, but the end result is this section of path is nowhere near as good as the one in Saunders Street. From a comfort perspective, everything else about it is pretty good. But if you jump on a bike and ride it back and forth a couple of times, you will see a noticeable difference. Now, that's not to say the path needs to be torn up and relaid or anything like that. It's just a little bit disappointing that this brand new path, well, it's not quite as bad as this over in Glebe, or what is this, Blackwattle Bay. And if you've ever ridden on these cobblestones, you'd know what I mean. But just to make the point that compared to the Saunders Street path, this is what the Miller Street path is like to ride on. It's rougher, it's lumpier. Now, the second point, apart from making sure that all this is specified correctly in the first place, is when the contractor says, yeah, we're finished, then the council should be saying, well, where's your system test report? And this is something from IT to say, yeah, the contractor has jumped on a bike and ridden it, and they think it satisfies the comfort criteria. It's like, okay, good. We're now going to get council staff to go out and do user acceptance testing where they'll jump on a bike and ride on it and see what it's like. And look, you might want to use a couple of different types of bikes to make sure it's suitable for cargo bikes and tricycles and things like that. You don't want to use a mountain bike that's got full suspension and fat tyres when most of the users, for instance, might be on bikes that have no suspension and 25mm tyres, for instance. You're going to perhaps not feel the difference in the comfort levels. Then after the user acceptance testing, it's probably a good idea for council to go out to the wider cycling community and say, right, we're not officially opening the path, but we'd like some people to put their hands up and come along and ride it and test it out and tell us what you think of it from those 5 principles: coherence, attractiveness, safety, comfort, etc. With comfort obviously being something to focus on, because hopefully you got the safety right. If you haven't got the safety right, well, I guess we're in real trouble. But that's the business user acceptance testing essentially. And if the users come back and say this path isn't really very good, then it's time for an interesting discussion with the contractor that won the tender and put it down to see, well, how can you remediate it? Because essentially it's just a bunch of snags from one end to the other. And snags are obviously a concept that anyone in the construction industry would be well used to. Anyway, so just in summary, great work, City of Sydney, for building this. It is a great bit of infrastructure. Just hopefully we can learn some lessons here to take on to the next project about the quality of the surface, how to specify that quality, and how to test for that quality and sign off on that quality.